or just good blocking? Was that moan from joy or mocking? The towel stayed on, but the tension was thick. Was it sexy or just a camera trick? From kisses to caresses, we're breaking down the yeses. Faking it with Ariel and Morgan.
Hi, I'm Ariel Lee Cohen,
Hey, I'm Morgan Smith.
and we are the hosts of Faking It with Ariel and Morgan.
We're two intimacy coordinators here to talk about the spicy scenes you see in film and TV.
So excited. Another episode.
Yeah. You wanna do the hots?
I'm happy to do that hots. That hot.
Do that hots. That hots.
We're going to start off with Hot Off the Set, where we share recent on-set stories with all identifying details, such as names, places, and project titles changed for privacy. Then, in scene work, we'll watch an intimacy scene in real time and rate it using our spice scale, scoring it across 3 key categories and giving it a final letter grade. We'll have notes and links in our captions in case you want to watch the scene yourself. After that, in Position to Know, we'll answer common questions we get about our work. So let's kick it off with Hot Off the Set. I got called in to do a 2.5 hour long scene. And all I've been told is that it's a kissing scene. This is extremely last minute. I didn't have the script. I spoke to the director briefly over the phone the night before at 10 p.m., but didn't get to speak to the actors. And all she said was, it's like a 4-second kiss, and they touch general touch points that's like shoulders, waist, back, hair, head. I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll come in. I get there, speak to the actors, everybody's comfortable with the action, whatever. And then I get told when we get up to the room where it happened, they were like, okay, well, they're going to do this pillow fight and the feathers are going to go everywhere. And the lead actress is like, I am allergic to feathers. And I was like, would have been nice to know ahead of time. It ended up being totally okay. We discussed briefly just maybe putting the feathers in front of the camera, but then they felt it wouldn't look right. So basically what we ended up doing is they would fight pillows. The pillow falls. They would have their kiss moment, and then she would run out of the room the second they call a cut. She'd like hang out outside and try to like brush it all off her face. They would come in with vacuums and vacuum every inch of the space. They would take pieces of tape and throw it on all the bedspreads and run around, and it was so crazy. We had to do like 15 total takes. I felt so terrible. It might have been good for the actress to tell production ahead of time that she was allergic to feathers. However, at the same time, if I had been brought in earlier, it's something I could have flagged. But the scene looked good and we were happy and it was fine. But I just
Yeah.
was like, oh no, production, you got to talk to your actors, man. You got to speak to them.
I think a lot of people don't realize one of the things that we ask in our prep is about allergies, because you don't know if someone's allergic to a certain kind of perfume or lotion, or if your scene partner just ate strawberries, is that going to cause a reaction in you? So this is why calling an intimacy coordinator last minute is not ideal, because then we have time to figure this stuff out. Then we can go to production and say like, hey, we're doing a pillow fight. Great. What are the pillows made of?
Mm-hmm.
But also good on that crew for doing all of that work in between every single take. That's amazing.
70% of our job is done in prep. If we do not have time to prep, then that means things get missed. It means we don't get a chance to get ahead of boundaries, which adds time on the day. I always ask my actors, just like you said, injuries, allergies, and access needs every single time, because you just need to know all of the factors that may factor in.
All right. I got a cute one early on in my intimacy coordinating. I was working on a short that had 2 very new actors who had never done a kissing scene before. And they were really nervous about it. And they're playing a couple that has been together for a while. So it had to seem as though they're comfortable with each other. And they were really nervous about doing a kiss first. And so something I always offer to people when I'm in that kind of situation is like, do you want to do your first kiss like away from crew, like just the three of us? You can get it out of the way without like 100 people watching you and the pressure of like, oh, we're about to do it. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So we go over, we're shooting outside. So we go over to this like kind of private area. And then we're standing there and I'm like, so what do we do? I'm like, oh, okay. I'll walk you
no.
through it. Which I get it because I'm
What
like,
do
that's
we
just the
do?
nerves. Yeah. Right. It's
Oh,
not like
no.
they literally didn't know how to kiss.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're both going to take a breath. We're just going to look at each other, take each other in, and then you're going to step closer, and then you're going to tilt your head. You're going to go this way. You're going to go that way. You're going to get close. Now you're going to kiss. And like just walking them through the whole thing. And then they were on camera and they were totally fine. But it was very sweet. I was really happy I got to be there for that like first on-screen kiss moment.
I love that story. That's
Well,
so cute. A lot of our stories are cute. A lot of you people ask, what are your worst stories? I'm like, no, a lot of them are adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true.
All right, well, anyway, should we move into scene work?
Yeah. Okay.
What have you brought for me?
I'm so excited for this. So I know it's October, it's spooky season. I thought we should do something from a spooky movie. I had never seen this before. I was just researching like what are horror movies that have some like iconic simulated sex scenes. And one of the ones that came up was Teeth. Are you familiar with it at all?
I've never seen it. I've heard of it.
Okay. To clarify,
I know
this
what
is
happens
the
in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the 2007 comedy horror film because there's another movie by John Waters that has the same title. So, yes, this is the comedy horror film directed by Mitchell Lichtenstein, and it is starring Jess Wexler as Dawn, who received the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance for this role, and Josh Pace as Dr. Godfrey, who will also appear in this scene. There's a bit of context that we need. As a reminder, this is a comedy horror. There is a trigger warning. This scene does involve a simulated sexual assault. So just keep that in mind. But you're going to see that it's going to turn out well for the hero. So our lead's name is Dawn O'Keefe. She is a teenage spokesperson for a Christian abstinence group. Her commitment to purity and sex education in rural Texas has left her a stranger to her own body, so much so that she doesn't know she has vagina dentata. Recently, her hormones started to get the better of her while making out with her boyfriend. Later, a horrified Dawn researches vaginal abnormalities when she discovers a rich, ancient history of this adaptation that's meant to protect women. Now she's visiting the OBGYN for the first time alone and under a pseudonym to verify if her vagina really has teeth.
Amazing. Great.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, and I should mention the time code on this in case listeners, viewers want to watch this on their own is 5129.
Okay, so we're in a gynecologist office. It's a little sparse in there. Looks very distraught. Oh, I know this actor. He tells her to lie down. She's wearing a patient outfit where it's not open in the back, which is not exactly accurate, but I'm not going to complain. Okay, so she lies down. She's not scooting up or anything. She's just lying down with her feet in the stirrups. This is a little awkward and not entirely right, but okay.
I'm not gonna bite you.
Oh, he's not gonna bite.
But you know who
That
might.
feels ironic. I feel tense.
Scoot down.
Okay, so she's scooting down. Yes, okay. Her head just keeps leaving frame. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
Ooh, weird. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. He
Yes.
just puts his forefingers on her knees and tries to spread her across. It's really odd. Okay, so
Your
he
body
has a
is going
speculum.
through. This might be a little cold.
And it was cold.
Perfectly
He's
healthy.
able to get the speculum up,
Are you sexually active?
but she has teeth in her vagina.
The
Yeah.
teeth are
And
not
she's a
always
virgin
out.
and he's able to get it up
In
with no
this
difficulty.
room, there are
There
no
wasn't even an
judgments
inch
made.
of discomfort on her
Deal?
face. Is he taking his glove off? Why is he doing that? Okay.
How's this?
So he's sexually assaulting her right now.
Can you tell me?
Your
What is he
flexibility?
putting? Oh, he's putting lubricant on his hand,
His bare hand.
and he is putting his hand inside of her.
Ow.
And now we have discomfort.
Lie back and relax.
Is he putting his whole
Just
fist in
breathe.
her vaginal canal?
Breathe through the pain.
Jesus Christ. So he is penetrating her with his hand, if not entire fist. Oh my god. His hand has been bitten. Oh no. They're just both screaming and she's pulling his arm with her. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ah! She is now turned over and it ate his hand off. It ate all of his fingers. And he just is yelling vagina dentata. And she runs away.
And that's the end of the
And that's-
scene.
That's the end of the scene. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Us?
Thoughts? So many. Let me think. Hang on. The authenticity of the moment was not real, and I'm not saying that just because of the teeth. I'm saying that regarding the OBGYN appointment. Some things that intimacy coordinators do is we work on scenes that include childbirth or anything or along the lines of an OBGYN appointment. We might be involved potentially. The outfit is incorrect and doesn't have a slit up the back. Her legs are not near split enough. The speculum goes into her vaginal canal with no discomfort. And then usually if someone's hearing yelling, they would come into the room. And let alone there being teeth in her vagina. I love when he says, "What did you put in here?"
That's my favorite line in the whole scene.
I'm surprised he got that many fingers inside of her. I also wonder how far in the teeth are.
So what we learn throughout the movie is the teeth aren't always present. They come out when she's feeling threatened. They act independently of her, but she can also kind of like unleash them at will.
What a superpower.
Yeah.
My God. How would we approach this scene? I would talk to wardrobe about what she's wearing. It's not really my scope. I just would have.
Yeah. But I wonder if the actor requested that. Like when she was running out, if she didn't want her rear to show.
That's very possible, but I feel like even then they can wear flesh tone underwear and a strapless bra or something, and they can like hold it in the back and be perfectly
Sure.
covered.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I would do anything differently than my normal scope of the position. I would definitely need to choreograph the hell out of that. What about you?
Yes. I couldn't get any information on behind the scenes, like how the shooting of this scene was. When I first watched this scene, other than like total shock and also just the comedy of it, because it's such a dark comedy, but it balances that so well. I was really impressed once her dentata like gripped his fingers and she's like moving him around, how much he's staying with her. They're working so well in tandem together. That was a huge part of the reason why I chose this specific scene, because there are a few different simulated sex scenes throughout this movie, as you can imagine. But this one, the choreography is just wild.
Given the scene, I would recommend almost that he grab her inner thigh. Not hard, but just enough so that they remain attached. So no matter where she goes, he can follow her without difficulty.
I also wonder if she was sitting on something and then he held on to that. Like, you know, those paddle things you hold when you're first learning how to swim and you're kicking and you hold that floaty thing. If she was like on one of those with a handle and then he just holds the handle and then that allows her to move.
I'm going low budge. You're going higher budge slightly.
I mean, this This movie had, I think it was about $2 million. So it had a decent
Okay.
budget.
Maybe it's like a swivelly panel where no matter where she moves her body, like he's holding on. So that
Yep.
would be cool too. I think low budget version, he maybe holds on to her thigh.
And yeah, his reaction is pretty clear. Like when the bite happens, it's pretty obvious what's going on.
Mhm. Yeah, let's get into that spice scale, man.
Yeah, let's talk about how spicy this scene is.
Right?
Welcome to the Spice Scale, our not so scientific way of rating intimacy scenes based on consent and power dynamics, technical craft and coordination excellence, heat factor. Each category gets a score from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. Then we add it all up to give the scene a final letter grade. Let's start with consent and power dynamics.
I mean, the scene depicts it well. We as the audience know the exact moment that the consent ends. He definitely has the power in this situation, kind of across the board. He, as the aggressor, has the power in the scene.
But especially because she's never had an
Mhm.
OBGYN appointment before.
So he has 100% power in the situation.
Well, as far as
Except
he knows.
until
Until.
her superpower shows up and
Yeah.
put a power.
And that's the thing is, this is the second time this has happened because, as I mentioned in the context, like the reason why she's there is because when her boyfriend forced himself on her vagina bit his penis clean off. So she's like, something's up.
Poor
she
girl. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you rate it?
Depicts the dynamics well. So I
Yeah.
want to give it a 4. The power switch is really, really well done. It's really good. I don't think that we needed quite as much of his hand in her vagina in order to make that come across.
It's a comedy horror. Things are slightly exaggerated. It's a little bit
Yeah.
campy. So for me, I would give it a 5 because the entire movie is playing off of typical consent and power dynamics, especially in horror movies. The idea of, usually the girl is being hunted down and then a guy saves her. And in this scenario, like exactly from the beginning, we expect the male doctor to be the one who has more of the power in the scene. And then that completely flips on its head. And I feel like the movie does a very good job of showing that. I thought it was just super clear. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about the scene because it builds up the tension really well. In the beginning, you're like, this is uncomfortable. Something isn't right. When I first watched it, I was like, oh, he seems nice. And this is like innocent enough. And she doesn't know what's happening. And then he gets a little weird. And then the second he takes his glove off, great metaphor, the gloves are coming off.
All right. You convinced me.
Yeah.
Well, I can move it to a 5. That makes sense.
All right. 5. Technical craft and coordination excellence.
I mean, great job. I did really well. I understood for the most part what was going on. I still think even beyond the coolness of the gel, having a speculum in your body would be uncomfortable. And I don't think that I saw anything beyond that initial present moment.
That's true. That's true.
But modesty production wise, saw nothing. Choreo was great. I understood what was going on the entire time. Yeah, I want to say 5 on that. Great job.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said before, even without an intimacy coordinator, clearly someone had to choreograph this. And, this podcast is not just to celebrate projects that ICs have worked on. It's people have done unofficial versions of this job for a long time. And there are people who did it well. And I think we can still appreciate that, even if the position didn't exist yet.
A lot of our job is also not the choreography aspect. It is the in-person elements of it and the prep elements. And I don't know how that went in the film or behind the scenes. But as far as choreo, I think we definitely need to appreciate it. I mean, before we came along, honestly, wardrobe and hair and makeup would handle a lot of our job. And they had a lot to do anyway. So, but they were really the only people on the ground floor who the actors could confide in, who the actors could talk to, and who would fight for the actors on their behalf. So,
Yep.
yay, hair and makeup and wardrobe and stunts.
Yay. Sheet factor, the level of erotic charge or sexual tension in the scene.
I don't think that there was sexy eroticism here, but there was tension for sure.
You could argue there's eroticism on his end because he's trying to commit a sexual violent act. He's aroused, but it's not erotic like necessarily for the audience, I would say.
Yeah.
It's not a
Aroused.
hot scene by any means. It's as cold as that speculum was.
Oh my God, right? I want to say 3 because there was some in there, but it wasn't like hot for us. There
Yeah.
was a tension to it and to certain characters in the scene.
I think there is room to acknowledge the tension that they built in that scene, which they did really well, even if it wasn't supposed to be a sexy scene.
Yes, I agree. So that gives us a 5, 5, and 3. That's 13, and that is a B.
Ooh!
All right. So just a slinky little B.
Slinky little bee.
So now we're at our final segment, Positioned to Know, where we'll answer common questions we get about our work. Morgan, do you have a question that you get asked a lot?
A lot of people are be like, your sex life must be amazing because you have this job.
Lol.
This is so funny. First of all, I'm not going to talk about my personal sex life. What I will say is being knowledgeable about these things and being able to communicate when it comes to sex is very helpful to have a healthy sex life. And I feel like a lot of times when people say that, they're picturing more like you must do the craziest stuff because you know all the things that are possibly out there. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. My personal sex life is not inherently connected to the work that I do because, you know, in my personal sex life, I have not encountered vaginas that have teeth in them that could bite your fingers off. Like, we're working with things that are just far beyond anything we could ever come across in our personal experience.
That's astute.
Thank you.
I would even go as far as to say when I was single, I'm only recently in the last couple of months gotten into a relationship. But thank you. But when I was single for the last couple of years while being an intimacy coordinator, I would say that it directly worsened my sex life. Not how I would perform the activity of sex, but more in the dating aspect, where I actually found that a lot of people were thinking, A, that I was extremely, let's use the word promiscuous, that I would be willing to sleep with someone on date 1. Then people would ask me, do you choreograph your sexual situations with people? And I'd say that is an insane ask. And who would do that? That's what would I pretend that we're having sex? No, that sounds very weird. Like, that'd be a weird thing to do. Or people would be really afraid of getting canceled and they wouldn't want to talk to me about anything. So I actually found it to be a detriment to my sex life initially. But yes, I agree. I think having knowledge about sex and the knowledge of anatomy and how the body works and how to find pleasure and effectively communicating with one another can be very helpful for your sex life. But I don't know that it's directly related to intimacy coordination.
When people are intimidated by it, did you find that there was like mostly guys would think that X, or was it just kind of like a mix across the board?
That's actually a great question. I'm going to use this as my position to know.
Hell yeah.
When I would date men, they would have a hard time with this. Some men, not so much, but most men, not all men, but most men.
Hashtag
would
not all of them.
Hashtag not all men, but most men would have some level of difficulty with this job description. I found that when I dated women would just be really excited that that position exists in the first place, or they would just have a million questions about it. I did not find that women had trouble with it the way that men did. I had not dated any non-binary folks in the time of my singlehood while being an intimacy coordinator, so I cannot speak to that. But that was more by chance.
Yeah. That's what my guess would have been, just based on like the reactions I've gotten when I've talked to like men I don't know versus women I don't know. But it's so different because I wasn't in a dating context with them. So I wasn't sure exactly how that would play out.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely different for everybody. And it also, I would say, depends on your demographic. Let's say if I were younger and in the middle of the country somewhere, there may be different reactions to that. But I would say it was hard for me to date, and it made it so I made me not really want to date that much, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would also say, last thing, when an intimacy coordinator walks onto set, everyone acts, I find, a little bit better than I think they normally would. They're a little more well behaved, let's say, because they're a little afraid of being canceled by us. And I know I kind of wish they wouldn't. I try to relax the feelings as much as I can, but no one on earth who is on a film set would ever hit on an intimacy coordinator.
That is one thing I actually really appreciate about the job. Is, like, people assume we have this superpower to cancel people. And I'm like, baby, if I had that power, we would have a different president. Like, trust. I wish there was like just that, at least that guy. But I'm like, no, we absolutely do not have that power. It is so funny because, like, I've had people who are unsure if they can swear around me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I'm not
We're
your
not the
grandmother.
PC police.
I'm not the PC police. Like, yes, when we're talking about the scene that we're working on, I would prefer we do it in a respectful way, but I'm not going to scold you if you use more colloquial terms because I've been trained to learn this language. Other people have not been trained. You can say whatever you want to me, and I know what you're talking about, and then I can demonstrate other language you can use, but I'm not going to like scold you, especially when I know that they're just trying to communicate. If someone's being a dick, then that's a different story.
Just if you're making like off-color jokes for the purpose of nothing, that is when I may pull you aside and talk to you, but it's not me who is offended. It is me keeping safe as space. It is me keeping safe as space. Fuck. It is me keeping spaces safe.
I knew you were
As
going to
much as
get
I
there.
can.
I was rooting for you.
I got there. It took me
Yeah.
so long, like a shocking amount of time.
But it is a really cool thing, though, to go onto sets and be like, oh, none of the dudes who are into women on this set are going to hit on me today. And as someone who's worked in this business for a long time, that is a fucking superpower.
Flip that hair. Yes. Imagine a world where you will never be objectified in any capacity. In fact, folks will actively try to get out of your way in that way. All right. Do you have any plugs, Morgan?
I don't think I have any plugs. If you've got less than 30 seconds, you can support this podcast by subscribing wherever you're listening to us right now. And you can do all of that on your phone so fast for no money.
I love that. I want to plug the holiday of Halloween. I think that y'all should do it and enjoy it and live your best Halloween-y type lives. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. I plug dressing up.
Love Halloween.
What are you dressing up as? Where are you going?
I have no idea. Last year, we were both Catwoman. Kim was the Halle Berry version, and I was the Michelle Pfeiffer version, which was so fun. We won a costume contest at a drag show, which is like honestly one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
That's nice.
We watched the runway and we kissed at the end of the runway, and the drag queens were judging it, and all the people watching it lost their minds. And I've never felt better about myself. I was like, oh my God, we made drag queens go crazy. So
You
I
did
don't
it. You
know.
accomplished.
The bar is so high. So I don't know.
Well, I wish you the best of luck this
you.
Halloween season.
Thank you so much.
Catch Faking It every other hump day, Wednesday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
And make sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends, and review us because it really does help.
You can follow us on all social media at Faking It the Pod.
Join our Patreon for free, become a part of the Faker community, and starting at just $1 a month, you can do fun things like request us to talk about certain scenes from film and TV you like, get some bonus content, and other really amazing things.
Stay real, fakers! Faking It with Ariel and Morgan is produced independently by Ariel Lee Cohen and Morgan Smith, edited by Ariel, and social media and branding by Morgan. Our theme song is Faking It by Suno AI until we get monetized, so feel free to send us a new one. Have questions, thoughts, or media recommendations? Hit us up at fakingthepod.com. Find us on all socials at Faking the Pod and head over to our Patreon for bonus content. Credits for the film or show we reacted to are in the episode caption. Keep it real, fakers!